The heavy bronze breastplate was the only thing holding Naaman together. To the soldiers of Aram, he was a giant, a commander who had brought victory after victory to their king. But under the polished metal, his secret burned like fire. He stood before the mirror in his private chambers, unbuckling the leather straps with trembling fingers. As the armor fell away, the reality of his condition stared back at him. His skin, once olive and strong, was now marred by pale, spreading patches, leprosy. It was a slow, silent enemy that no sword could defeat. It didn't just attack the body, it threatened to strip away his rank, his home, and his dignity. In the hallway, the sound of hushed voices drifted in. Naaman quickly threw a robe over his shoulders. He could command armies, but he could not command this plague to leave. In the kitchen, a young girl from Israel scrubbed the copper pots. She was far from her home, brought to this foreign land during a time of conflict. Yet her heart had not hardened. She watched her mistress, Naaman's wife, weeping softly by the window. "My mistress," the girl said, her voice small but steady. Naaman's wife turned, wiping her eyes. "What is it, child?" "If only my master were with the prophet who is in Samaria," the girl said, placing the pot down gently. "He would heal him of his condition." It was a simple sentence, but it carried the weight of a lifeline. When Naaman heard the words later that evening, skepticism warred with desperation. A prophet? In Israel? The very land they had fought against? But the fire on his skin made the decision for him. He packed chariots with silver, gold, and fine clothing, gifts fit for a king. He traveled with a heavy escort, the dust of the road choking the air as they rode south. When they arrived at the house of Elisha the prophet, Naaman expected a grand reception. He expected the prophet to come out, wave his hands, call upon his God, and perform a mighty miracle. Instead, a messenger stepped out of the humble doorway. The man didn't even bow. "Go and wash in the Jordan 7 times, the messenger said plainly, "and your flesh shall be restored to you, and you shall be clean." Naaman felt the heat rise up his neck, hotter than the disease itself. He was the commander of the Syrian army. He had expected a ritual, a ceremony, something respectful. Are not Abana and Pharpar, the rivers of Damascus, better than all the waters of Israel? Naaman roared, turning his chariot around sharply. "Could I not wash in them and be clean?" He rode away in a fury. The insult stung his pride more than the leprosy stung his skin. The Jordan was a muddy, narrow river. It was beneath him. His servants, who rode beside him, exchanged worried glances. One of them, brave enough to speak, rode closer. "My father," the servant said gently, using a term of respect, "if the prophet had told you to do some great thing, would you not have done it? How much more, then, when he says to you, 'Wash and be clean'?" Naaman pulled on the reins. The horses stomped, kicking up dust. He looked at the faces of his men. They wanted him well. The young girl back in Syria wanted him well. Only his pride stood in the way. He let out a long, defeated sigh and turned the chariot toward the river. The banks of the Jordan were slippery with mud. Naaman stepped down, removing his robe. The wind was cold. He felt exposed and vulnerable without his armor, a sick man stepping into a dirty river. He dipped once. Nothing happened. He dipped twice. The water was cold and murky. He dipped a 3rd time, then a 4th. Doubts whispered in his ear. "You look like a fool." 5th time, 6th time. He was shivering now, water dripping from his beard. He took a deep breath and plunged under for the 7th time. The silence of the water covered him. He washed the mud from his arms and face. When he broke the surface, gasping for air, he didn't need to look. He could feel it. The burning itch was gone. He looked down at his hands. The pale patches had vanished. His skin was new, soft and unblemished, like that of a young child. Naaman stood in the quiet river, the mighty commander humbled not by a sword, but by a simple act of faith. He climbed up the bank, no longer hiding behind his armor, finally whole.